Howdy Neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we're going to be talking about Will being the vessel of Vecna in season 5 of Stranger Things. Now, before we get started, don't forget to give my video a like and subscribe and hit me up in the comments. We can talk about it, we can argue about it, we can chit chat about it. It'll be great. Anywho, also, check out another video. I left a link down in the comments for you to go to Screen Crush and look at Ryan Airy's video, which covered pretty much every point I'm going to make here, but I'm going to go and add a little thing at the end and make it my own thing, which is why it is Will is the vessel of Vecna, and we're going to talk about that. So, right away, let's talk about the similarities. Mess that up. Similarities between Will and Henry. Now, from season 1, episode 1, it's been very clear that they have a lot of the same characteristics. They're different. They're outcast. Will, we know. I mean, he may not have come out yet, but we know it's fine. Will, it's totally cool. Just say it, bro. We love you. It's gonna be great. But we know that Will's gay, and we're pretty sure that Vecna might have been the exact same way. I'm sorry, Henry. Just separating them, isolating them, making them feel very alone and on their own, which is why very much the same story between Harry Potter and Voldemort. And I'm going to make a few references to both Harry Potter and Voldemort during this video because I got some good ones. You're going to like this. So the true sight thing. Now, we were led to believe that when Will had true sight during season 2 of the show, that he was looking basically just into the mind flayer. But I believe that it was Vecna, not the mind flayer, or at least Vecna controls the mind flayer. He is the mind flayer. It's a front. He created him. He's essentially the Snoke to Palpatine. I'm sorry, that was a terrible reference. I don't know why I did that. But season 1, episode 1, The Vanishing of Will Byers, we were all led to believe that that was, in fact, a Demogorgon that kidnapped Will and took him into the Upside Down, but it wasn't. It was Vecna himself. I don't have a clip for obvious reasons, but go back to season 1, episode 1. It's in the first 10 minutes of it, but when you see Will get spooked by the Demogorgon, pause it. That is a very weird Demogorgon. It has one arm longer than the other one, and the hand on that arm is a little bit bigger than the one on the other, just like Vecna. And then it chases Will, and from what we've seen of the Demogorgons, when they chase you down, they will burst through your wall. It will tear down your door and rip you to shreds. This one used telekinesis and unlocked the chain lock on the door. Demogorgons don't do that. Like, that's literally never been done by any other one in the run of the series. And then when Will's hiding out in the back with his shotgun waiting, instead of bursting in and eating him, it just takes him, disappears, teleports. Probably, I say teleports, but whatever voodoo, magic, Vecna, Voldemort, wibbly wobbly stuff he's got going on, managed to transport him and Will back to the Upside Down and leave. They shut the door behind them. It's, those aren't the characteristics of a Demogorgon. That is the characteristics of Vecna. Then Will was allowed to live down there for a week. Now, there's a theory that the reason he was able to survive was because he was singing his favorite song while he was down there. And as we know from season 4 of Stranger Things, your favorite song can link you back into the real world so that you can escape being killed by Vecna. And also, I hate the Duffer Brothers for making that damn Kate Bush song popular again because I hear it everywhere. But that's fine. Me complaining. So Will was allowed to live down there for a week because he was singing his favorite song while he was down there. But hear me out. What if he was allowed to live down there for a week because Vecna was specifically keeping him down there to invade his mind, to plant a little seed, a little Horcrux in the back of his head? I mean, it's like in the Deathly Hallows. There's a reason Harry Potter can hear snakes talk. It's a connection. Vecna, every time Will feels an emotion, it prickles on the back of his neck, much like when Voldemort would feel an emotion, Harry would feel it no matter where he was once Voldemort was back to life. And if you pay attention, Will says that he usually feels the mind flayer when he's close or planning something big. But if you pay attention, every single time that Will has felt the Mind Flayer's presence during season, was it 2 or 3? Season 3. Um, it wasn't just because the Mind Flayer was up to no good, but he was emotionally vulnerable because we know that he is in love with Mike. I mean, Mike's his hero. That Mike's been there episode 1 since the beginning. He didn't believe that Will was dead. He did everything he could to find Will. And whenever Will came back, he would have heard that Mike was the one who was always looking out for him. And it's evident through seasons 2 and 3 and 4 that Mike is Will's best friend and Will is Mike's. And Mike has done his best to look after him for the first 3 seasons of the show. And so, oh dear Lord, I forgot my point. Thank you. Nope, I have lost my point. I was talking about Will and being in love with, yes, feeling emotions. During season 3, the first time that he feels the Mind Flayer's presence, he was upset because he wanted to go play Dungeons and Dragons, and the guys just wanted to talk about the girls. And that's when he was feeling the emotions of Vecna. Then later on, when they're all going out to set up Dustin's telescope out in the middle of the field so he can contact Susie, Mike and Eleven break off, and as soon as they break off, Will's watching them leave, and he's getting a little upset because, like I said, he's jealous, and Vecna is preying on that jealousy. And so while he's watching them go, he also feels a prickle in the back of his neck. Let's see, did I write it down? Yeah, that was it. Will's just looking at the relationships between Mike and Eleven, getting jealous, and it's fine. I really hope that those two work things out, because the way that Vecna is going to take over Will is going to be very much like A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 or even Ghostbusters 2. Now, all through this season, they were referencing A Nightmare on Elm Street very, very heavily. Some of the themes were there. They even had Freddy Krueger himself play Vecna's father. That's pretty cool. But the black sheep of the Nightmare on Elm Street series is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And it's a great movie. I don't care what people say. It is a solid sequel because it tries to pick up from where the other movie left off and take it in a new direction. At the end of part 1, Freddy was left weakened and out in the real world, not in the dreams. And when you get to part 2, he's still stuck somewhere in limbo between sleep and awake. And in order to get scares out, he's using Jesse as his vessel to kill people. Basically, Freddy has invaded his mind and his body and is using him while he's asleep to kill people for him, to strike that fear, because that fear is how Freddy grows stronger. So while Will was stuck on the inside out, there was that little feeding tube thing stuck in his mouth, and we all saw him release the polywog at the end of the episode and lead into season 2 of the show. But whatever was going into him could have also been left something else still down there. He even said it in season 2, the episode The Spy. He's like a sleeper agent. Vecna, or the Mind Flayer, would fade into the background and let Will be Will, but he'd know that he was back there somewhere. And we know that Will's susceptible to keeping secrets. He didn't tell anybody that he spit out the polywog at the end of season 1. He didn't tell him. I mean, obviously, he's not telling anybody about his sexuality just yet, but he's pretty good at keeping some things to himself. And if he knows that Vecna or the Mind Flayer is still back there just a little bit, he might be scared to say it out loud. And I think that when Vecna takes over him, it's going to be an emotional moment, like his jealousy for 11. What's going to happen is he's going to come out, and Mike's going to still be his best friend no matter what. I promise you that. Mike is a solid dude. He is not going to care. And he even said it during season 3 when they were having an argument about Dungeons and Dragons. He said, it's not my fault you don't like girls. And then he stopped and said, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't want to be a jerk. Like, he knows, and he's still friends with Will anyways, because Will is his best friend. And so I don't think it's going to change their relationship. But Mike is a bit of a hothead, and he doesn't always say the right thing. And while I know he's still going to love and accept Will for who he is, he's going to mess up and say the wrong thing immediately. He's just going to have mouth diarrhea and spit out the wrong thing on accident, but the damage is going to be done. And that little bit of damage, that little bit of vulnerability coming through to Will from Mike is going to be all Vecna needs to take over Will and use him to carry out his bidding. And I think that could work out. And it's like Ryan Airy was saying in his Screen Crush video that Will could be like the opposite of Vecna. He could be like the upside down Vecna. He could be like a positive force instead of a negative force once he learns how to control his emotions, because we don't really know where Vecna's original powers come from. Are they natural? Were they something that he got from the haunted house? We're still not sure. I mean, the upside down, like they said, the upside down was always there. 11 just opened the door. So there's that. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? No, that's pretty solid. So here's another theory. Is Vecna the biological father? I'm sorry, Henry, the biological father of all of the other children that were at the hospital? He could be the biological father of, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on, because he is the oldest. And he even said it during the finale. Brenner wanted to recreate it. And was Brenner out just seeking out random babies that might have psychic or telekinetic abilities? It seems a bit random. But if he was trying to replicate it by impregnating a bunch of other women with sperm from Henry, which, let's face it, Brenner's a POS, and he would have gotten the sperm to impregnate other women, and that's why all the children are still technically siblings, though half siblings. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. End.